How is everybody doing today? My name is Maiko, and unfortunately this video is not being edited by Christian, so for all the mess ups or nonsense, that's my fault, not his. I can't exactly expect him to be able to edit something for me in the span of a few hours, so I wasn't going to do one this week, only because it's actually pretty hard to find a lot of legitimate mushroom news. But then I was just bored and playing around and had some fun and found some fun story which led to a rabbit hole, which I decided to stop at that rabbit hole so we could just uncover it here all together. So what we are going to be doing today, we are going to go into Google, and what we are going to do is have some fun. I'll load this up real quick. All right, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to type in Florida man magic mushrooms, and we're going to go down a rabbit hole. All right, Huffington Post. Let's go check out the Huff Post. Click that up. All right, only in Florida, wouldn't you know it? We'll leave his last name out. Our good old boy Rick, he forgot Morty, and that's what happens, you know. Florida man arrested picking mushrooms in state forest with alligator in his backpack. Okay, let's get on into it. Wildlife officials arrested 5 men in the Little Econ State Forest in Seminole County Sunday after an officer found them with magic mushrooms, marijuana, and an alligator in a backpack, according to Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission spokeswoman Joy Hill. Well, now, if that's not a mouthful, Mrs. Joy. Hill said the group was stopped for picking hallucinogenic psilocybin mushrooms which grow naturally in the forest. But during a search, an officer discovered a 2-foot alligator wrapped in a bandana and stuffed into a backpack of the 30-year-old Titusville resident, Rick. I don't know why I did that little stupid step up. It's kind of hard because I got to read it and then look up. That way you guys don't feel like I'm forgetting about you, yada yada. All right, good old Ricky Boy was charged with felony drug possession, misdemeanor removal of plant life, possession of an alligator, and an unrelated probation violation. Also arrested on charges were, the rest of the people, and an unnamed juvenile, according to the Orlando Sentinel. They knew what they were picking, said Hill, who also warned that because of the bacteria in their mouths, even the bite of a small alligator could cause, ultimately, the shorter lifespan. The alligator was removed, revived a little bit, and released unharmed into a nearby canal, Hill said. Rick told the officers he just intended to take pictures of the pretty little thing and send him on his merry way. Well, with what Rick was picking, I'm very curious to see what kind of conversation he would have had later at night with that alligator. But at least no one was naked. Last month, 35 first responders were sent to rescue a Colorado University Boulder student who got too high on mushrooms during a hiking trip, stripped off his clothes, and wound up in handcuffs. We are getting ready to go to that story, because that's a funny one. So that's just a fun story about not eating, or about a man going out into the woods, picking some mushrooms, and making a new friend that I'm pretty sure if he would have had those mushrooms with, like him and that alligator would have sat down and had dinner later, they may have had some good conversations, you know. Who knows? You never know unless you take the ride, right? You got the ticket, take the ride. All right, here we go. Naked Colorado University Boulder student rescued from Chautauqua Park after getting too high on mushrooms. The good old days. The college afterlife, academia, sportsmanship, and taking way too many mushrooms. Stripping naked and fighting off emergency responders. Excelsior! That's what happened to our good old friend, University of Colorado undergrad Taylor, on Sunday afternoon when she went hiking with her roommates in Chautauqua Park in Boulder, Colorado. Boulder County Sheriff's Office, we'll get that back, and that's why we have Christian. He takes out all those, trust me, there's a lot of those that he does. So hopefully we won't have that happen too more, because coming into this I knew that I wasn't going to have Christian edit this. So, sorry, Christian. I swear, no offense. It's really late right now. You're probably actually asleep, and I'll probably actually be up with this uploaded before you even wake up. Sorry. All right, Boulder County Sheriff's Office deputies and other emergency responders, 35 in all, including personnel from the Boulder County Sheriff's Office, Boulder Open Space and Mountain Parks, Boulder Fire Rescue, and the Rocky Mountain Rescue Group and American Metal Response arrived at Chautauqua Park after receiving a 911 call that a hiker was high on mushrooms and in distress. You don't say. Powers, high on sorry about that. We're going to redo that because I heard the pop. Powers, high on mushrooms, had taken off all of her clothes and was being restrained by her 21-year-old roommates who were also Colorado University Boulder students, Brian and William. While hiking near the second and third, I have no idea what that word is, according to the Boulder Daily Camera. It took rescuers about... Just imagine the next one. It took rescuers about an hour to successfully restrain Powers in handcuffs. But once they finally did, she was taken to Boulder Community Hospital where she was treated and released. You had this girl... This one intense ride. 35 people there. And it took them an hour. And it's so funny because you can understand when I was younger, I used to do security work, right? And I would not mind having to go into a situation dealing with guys. But I tell you what, that 110-pound girl who's pissed off is always a handful. And I'll tell you what, side note, I've never seen, they are strong. If you ever see them like little 105-pound girls that are with like the meatheads, like the fucking, you know, they just eat chicken all day and whatever and just jack off looking in the mirror. That 105-pound girl, I swear to God, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it, can hold back that 250-pound steroid-using meathead. It won't make sense. I don't get it, but I can't tell you how many parking lots I've been in, and I've used the explicit where it's like, hey, you want to fight me and you got that 105-pound girl holding you back, brah? Typically, we would end up fighting after that point in time because that's you pluck the manhood charge, and it never turned out good because one thing I learned about meatheads that worried about bench pressing, they're literally only strong like this. You get them in a full Nelson, you hear all kinds of weird sounds when they're trying to break your grip, like, and then heaven forbid you do like a chicken wing and make them wave bye to everybody that's watching. It's really embarrassing, but a fucking blast. Heaven forbid you catch them taking the piss and then go in the full Nelson, walk through the club on the way out, chicken winging them by with their little pecker swinging in the air. Woo! Plenty of meatheads cried. It was funny. It's not about being strong, it's about being smart and understanding manipulation. Powers was issued a summons for unlawful consumption of a controlled substance. According to a Boulder County Sheriff's Office statement, further charges are pending against the 2 male students involved in the incident, and all they were doing was trying to make sure the girl was in like their constant eye contact, because I will say this, when you know that somebody's having a bad trip and they start running, you really do need to be a good person and make sure that that person is okay, and it's going to be a babysitting task. It really is. You are going to be there for a while, and it's not going to make sense, but it's all good. Don't judge them, and when they get back and they're normal, give them a hug and tell them you love them and let them enjoy their day. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, so then we're going to keep on coming down with our Florida man. Excuse me on that one. All right. Man faces rare charge for possessing magic mushrooms. Rare charge because it's legal to possess wild growing magic mushrooms in Florida as long as they're wet, because when they're dried, I think they're considered hallucinogenic use, which is illegal then. But don't quote me on this, but I believe you're allowed to carry wild harvested wet mushrooms in Florida. But if they're dry, you got some issues on your hands. Fish and wildlife officers found an unusual scene recently when they boarded a sailboat gliding without lights near Peanut Island. Mushrooms growing in 3 buckets, 18 jars packed with fungal colonies, and several plastic storage containers filled with spores. With the help of an iPad and her wildlife training, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission Lieutenant Annie Plastic recognized the brown mushrooms with white stems as the psychedelic psilocybin cubensis species. You get a medal. The 24-year-old man on the boat told the lieutenant that he grew the mushrooms from spores purchased in California. I mean, how you gonna get mad at a guy telling you the truth? Piss off. He had colony upon colony of mushrooms, Plastic said. He had everything from A to Z, so from albino penis envy to Z strain. I highly doubt he had everything from A to Z. Just my thoughts. Police in Palm Beach County rarely come across people with shrooms. Well, yeah, probably because they're hiding somewhere. But wildlife officers knew where they will find shroom hunters searching for mushrooms on cow droppings after it rains heavily for a few days. The recent arrest near Peanut Island is one of just a few cases local police and wildlife authorities have handled in the past few years. The Poison Information Network got about 8 calls on mushroom overdoses in South Florida. The Poison Information Network got 8 calls about the mushroom overdoses in South Florida during the first 3 months of 2012. That's compared with about 45 calls of OxyContin overdoses. I don't believe that. Fish and wildlife officers charged mushroom hunters with removing plant life from a wildlife management area, Plastic said, as it's hard to prove they intend to use the fungi to get high. 2 hallucinogenic chemicals found in magic mushrooms are Schedule 1 illegal drugs and in the same category as heroin and cocaine. More than 185 species of mushrooms contain the illicit psilocybin and psilocin chemicals, according to the Fish and Wildlife Commission. Each ounce sells on the street for $60 to $200, Plastic said. Alapaf Flats Wildlife Management Area near Stewart is a popular place for them to go digging, the commission said. On May 15th, a Fish and Wildlife officer arrested a Boynton Beach man and a Deerfield Beach man with a sack filled with freshly picked mushrooms. The men said they were looking for edible fungi. Due to the time of the year and the rain the area had received, I knew the individuals were almost certainly picking psilocybin, the officer wrote in the arrest report. Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office deputies didn't come across any psychedelic mushroom cases in the past year, and Boca Raton police handled only one. In September, Boca Raton police arrested a group of youths in a parking garage. We don't need the address. After catching them with a little puff in their car, police said. Among those in the group was a 22-year-old man who hid a plastic bag with 11 grams of mushrooms in his What the fuck? Why are you boofing mushrooms, yo? That is so stupid. Florida man, I forget. Fucking Florida man. Florida man shoving mushrooms up his ass. I wonder if they were any of the MV strains. Holy shit. Prescription drugs really are the drug of choice, he said. Yeah, unfortunately. The few who do prefer fungi tripping will eat the dried mushrooms or brew them in a tea to mask the bitter flavor, the Drug Enforcement Administration said. The hallucinations are similar to those eating mescaline or peyote, the DEA said, and users are unable to tell fantasy from reality. I'd like to challenge that. But we're going to go back up here real quick, because it says that we have... Where did it go? They said they had 8 phone calls of overdosing on mushrooms. So what we are going to do is go to our good old friend Google, and we're going to do something real quick. we're going to find out how believable that is. So we're going to look up the lethal LD50 for psilocybin. And then we'll also look up the LD50 for psilocin. Now, granted, I just bear with me. I know that one's converted, but I don't know if that changes anything. And while we're trying to learn, we want to make sure that there's no difference. Let's do psilocin. Shit. And let's see what we come up with. Okay, so they keep, okay. Okay, so they're linking the same thing. Okay, so there's no difference on psilocybin and psilocin, but let's go and check out BioQuest, and let's see what we have right here. Okay, the main LD 50% for psilocybin is 280 milligrams per 1 kilogram. What the hell? That is a lot. So for me, I am 205 pounds, 6'4". How many milligrams is 205 pounds?
205 pounds is equal to 9.299 times 10 to the 7 milligrams.
Okay, so that's your answer. Good luck making sense out of that. But what that tells me is that I need to eat a ton to be anything close to that. Now, the problem with that comes into let's see if we can find something a little bit more of a breakdown that's not on the spot thinking. All right. Cool. We'll go with this one. All right. Here we go. The LD for 50% of the population for Cubans is being consumed by a 150-pound person. Okay, so they have already done the conversion for us. Is 3,015 grams over 6 pounds. A high dose is considered anything over 3.5. What that means is 3.5 grams for a 150-pound person. You're fine. You literally do not get into risky waters until you increase that 10,000 fucking times. I think it's 10,000. Yeah, 3 to 3,000. Yeah. 10,000 fucking times. You are going to shit yourself. You are going to vomit. In my experience and through conversations with a lot of people who have had a lot of experiences. Do not take that as any kind of advice. I am clearly not a doctor. I'm just a delusional idiot sitting in front of the green screen, talking to my friends, trying to go over things that I care about. And as you see, we found a report of about 8 overdoses in 2012. And when we understand that to get to an overdose, you have to be 150 pounds consuming 3,015 grams. Most likely, they're defining psychosis as an overdose, which it's not. Or they're equating OBEs in anything from that realm to where you get to the Boulder, Colorado girl who's needing to be restrained by 2 people. I'm wondering if they're considering that an overdose. Because I'm not too sure how many 150-pound people can eat 6 pounds of an active substance without and be able to keep it down. I mean, you're talking 6 pounds of food first off, okay? And I'm not sure if they're considering 3,015 grams the mushroom or the active ingredient in the mushroom. So that could be even something a little bit further to decipher. Is it 3,015 grams of mushrooms or 3,015 grams of psilocybin? because it says, the way I read it is the LD50 for psilocybin cubensis. Okay, so it says psilocybin cubensis. But understanding the potency scale is different per strain. I don't know. It's just a little weird. I don't necessarily believe 8 people overdosed on magic mushrooms in Florida. I do believe, however, 8 people may have thought they overdosed and believed they were dead and had to call help. I've seen that happen before. Call rescue. Call rescue. Right, cuz? Sorry. I don't know what 420 wax is, man. That's the best thing ever. Just, you smoke, just you heat up this little thing. Call rescue! Call rescue! Call rescue! I love it. And it's at this point in time, I would like to thank you for your time. It's all we have and it does not exist. Much love and stay chubby, friends. This was actually kind of fun doing this one. I had fun laughing. I'm not going to be doing too much editing, but it was really fun reading this and sharing it with you guys. Might have to get an altered frame of mind, you know, maybe have a beer or two and do this, but we'll see. And it's really weird too, I don't like looking at the camera because I know when I look at the camera that I'm looking at you guys, and I don't, that's the whole eye contact thing through the ether, that's weird. It freaks me out a little bit, so I'm sorry that I kind of look like down to the left, but, or down, maybe down to your left. This reverses it. Might either down to your left or down to your right. I apologize. It's because like when I look in the camera, I feel like something's looking back at me. But